But you sense it's only strange in the sense that the moon, which is highly stressed and it's in Aries, it's in a fiery emotion, whereas the sun's in the watery emotion. The sun is really ruled by the moon. So the daylight's increasing, nighttime's increasing, daylight is greater. Gotta be me, I'm moving towards responsibility. It's cardinal, I'm gonna push for it. It's water, gotta feel okay about what I'm doing. And but it's ruled, it's feminine, reflective, but it's ruled by moon. So this sun, even though it's prominently situated, it's well aspected, it's ruled by the moon. So by home, by mom, by family, by kids. So all of his responsibilities, he's got to take care of the family. The Cancer has to take care of the home, the family security. And when it comes to his moon, he's scrambling to maintain all the responsibilities he can have because the moon's making the advance. I got to take care of this and this too. I got the job. Okay, I'll go pick up this. Okay, I'll go do that. I'm running around to do this. Okay, oh boy, when is the time for me? And the Mercury keeps getting new ideas and talking to people at work and getting new ideas and getting more ideas of things to do. Then his moon's kicking in. I want to do this. I want to do this too. And I want to go do this. And the sun's determined to do it, but it's got to take care of everything. So just when you look at the chart, you have the trines, the sextiles. You see a lot of red. There's a certain amount of tension. So tension is normal to him. He's used to scrambling around these issues. But you could almost say, if it was an extreme or when there would be times when the moon would be afflicted or difficulties, there would be a tendency to be really almost handpicked or pushed so much by the moon that he would have trouble living up to all the demands of it. Yet he would try. But he doesn't have the staying power, the fixed, the determined things. So he goes, does it, but then he can get stuck on something and I got to get out of here. I want to adapt. I got to push for something new. And there's always the need to get on to the next thing. We're just seeing simple little associations, but they're starting to show out a very unique behavioral pattern. So in going through this, you're capable of doing that. We've done all these deeply, so you know how to do this stuff. It's just making the associations and giving time to expand on it, taking the sign and the attitude, the security, Cancer, and the sun. No bad aspects. In the 10th house, looks like hardworking person, good career. He'll work and he'll get his place. He'll have his things. He'll have this done. But then you see, it's ruled by the moon, and boy, he has to keep the house peaceful and do all the things necessary, or it affects his honor or his dignity. So he's going to have to do that. But because the sun's in the 10th house, the moon's above the horizon, there's no planets in his 4th, 5th, 6th house. How much time would he have to just be alone and feel okay? Just relax and be at home. That's not the strong suit. That's the weakest element, least likely to be there. So as I'm doing the main aspects, I'm looking at the chart, but I'm really looking at those ones. The sextile to Saturn, he's responsible. The sextile to the Pluto, he can maintain his control of things. He can do things. But there's not the stress to the sun, but it comes from the rulership of the moon, because there's the moon, and the moon's strongly afflicted. There's a lot of stress around that moon. So you meet him, nice guy, holding us together. You meet him, he's very efficient. But if you go home, or you're going to have dinner at home, or you're trying to get close to him, you're going to meet the restless, unstable, always changing. There's hardly any time to do everything that needs to be done. You're going to meet that kind of person. It's not right or wrong. It's just that stress is generally there. It's normal for him. So if you told him, or if the wife told him, if you told him, I'll meet you such and such a place at such and such a time, he's going to be scrambling to get there, but the odds of getting there on time, it's so many things can come up. It would be easy for him to be late. If he were late, he'd start feeling insecure. He'd be threatened. He'd be trying to justify it. Oh boy, it would build up this anxiety. And he'd run to get there as fast as he could. But that's normal in his moon. So in this case, the moon's very strong because of that sun, but we already looked at the moon and the stress is involved in it. But it doesn't mean, at the same time, even though that stress is there, he still needs to be in a relationship, needs a relationship where he has nobody to prove things to. And he needs to be proving things to people to feel secure. So when he meets someone he likes, he's going to try and do everything for them. They're going to get used to it. And before long, they'll be telling him what to do. And he needs to do what to do. There you go. Okay. That's good enough. That's a fast assessment. If you've gone through each of the aspects, they've gone through each of your worksheets, these things will unfold. You'll see the attitudes, you'll see the houses, you'll see the aspects, and it'll be there. It'll just take a little time to experientialize it and imagine what it would be like to live like that. That's why when you're doing your worksheets, I got you to how does it show? Get one example of how it works in your life. One example, so you're used to thinking, how would that show? How would that show? Oh, that was this. Oh, that was this. It's opening the door to be able to do this better. If we look at Venus, Venus is very hot. It's in Taurus. It's ruled in Taurus. I like comforts. I like nice things. I want to be secure. I want to be comfortable. I want to be appreciated. I want to be appreciated. Here I am. This is the Venus in Taurus. It puts its energy into the 9th house of what's right and wrong, of philosophy and principles. What's right to have, what's not right to have. So when he's in love with someone or he wants somebody, he's going to have to believe in it completely. I really believe we're meant to be, we're destined to be here. This is here, this destiny is this 9th house understanding. I'm appreciated because I need to understand the other person. It's setting, it's above the horizon, it's in the sensation. There's a need to appreciate the principles and philosophies of others and to respond to them. So to find someone who has similar values or appreciates similar things, that's important. Now that Venus has some nice aspects to it. So it has, but it's not negatively affected by the moon specifically or the sun, but it's opposed by Mars and opposed by Neptune. So both Neptune will confuse the Mars, and then Mars will, in its confused state, will push the Venus. To push for more, when you want something, you got to drive really hard, and then you drive for it, and you're driving too hard or too fanatical or too idealistically, and it can be, and other people aren't driving as hard. So this is a gullible factor, this Venus and its aspects. Now, it's practical around money, around things, but about what's right or wrong, what principles or what values do you want? What philosophies do you believe in? It's in his 9th house, so having a higher understanding is important to have it. It's about his principles of believing in what the family should be, what should be done, that's a strong thing he wants to feel. He's going to attract people that would have, that he likes their values and like his values. Now, the difficulty here is the Venus is opposed by Neptune, so it's easily tempted or enchanted. So this makes it possible for him to believe that what he sees or that the appreciation he wants is there more than it is, or that he wants someone more than is practical. He'll want something and he'll do everything to try and be with that person. So there's kind of a martyr element or a dedicated element. It's important for him to be dedicated to a worthy Venus cause, a worthy principle. If he has a worthy principle or a worthy understanding of things, then it will really make things much simpler. But every degree he compromises his Venus values and he's tempted to go differently, it'll run, anytime he compromises or gets in a difficult situation, it'll get into a bad situation very quickly. So it's easy for him to be running around doing things. It's easy for him to be distracted from what he wants. Even though he's being really responsible and trying to do everything he wants, it's easy for him to get distracted or tempted to go a different way around it. This Mars-Venus tends to be, just the Mars to Venus tends to make, it forces the desires. When I want something, I got to go for it now. It forces it. So it pushes it a little more than is comfortable. Because the very comfort you're looking for tends to be pushed a little. It's a little stressful and a little harsh. So by nature, there's often a course of damn this or damn this. It's easy to, when you're not getting what you want, it's easy to get angry. or to have a fight or to be a little rowdy. But the Neptune there weakens the Mars. It makes one want to be really dedicated, and one's going to be really dedicated towards what one wants. And if one wants something wrong, you're going to get really complicated. If one does something wrong, like this is not somebody who's inclined to do something illegal because of the way his sun is and the way the moon things are, he wouldn't want to be, but it's not the temptations didn't come. It's just have to do this the hard way, have to take care of this. That's the other aspects for him. But the the Mars Neptune, it's hard to, what should I do? Should I do this? Should I do that? It tends to be the Mars Neptune itself. Neptune brings in, you can have the confusion, you have the chaos, you can have the gullibility, but it's really brings in a social conscience and a need to be dedicated, hopefully in a good way, because faith and proper dedication is a conscientious. When it goes to social conscious things, it works very well. I got to help this cause. I got to help this because I want to help these people. So he wants to help the cause, but he could make the woman or the person's life so much the cause, and it's difficult to live up to all the expectations around it. So this is sometimes this person could, with the Mars Neptune, can get very enchanted, chase or push for anything, but it's going to push for what I want. I want this, I want this. It's going to drive for what he wants too much, a little too much. So he's over idealistic and gullible. So if you drive too much, other people can take advantage of you quickly because they see that you're doing this and you're gullible. So his initiatives and the dreams can often go against his need for practical financial security, the Venus in Taurus. But he's still going to have the dream of wanting to have some adventure, to express himself, to follow some ideas to make things happen. So that's the third house of the Mars Neptune coming over to this Venus. So I'm looking from the Venus. You see the I, me, what I want. But what I want is based, I want someone else to be there. I want to be appreciated for what I want. And he's going to try and do so much to get what he wants, but he's going to try too much, and it's going to get complicated. He's going to have trouble living up to all the demands. This is a normal seesaw for him. So for him, there's a need to be socially conscious. There's a need to be dedicated, but there's also a need to be careful of big extremes. That's the Neptune on the Mars opposing the Venus. So he can be enchanted, so desperately enchanted on someone, and then he can be really aloof and detached. So they'll be very passionate times, almost smothering passionate times. And then they'll be very aloof, don't touch me, evasive times. And that's kind of a mixed signal. But this is in his natal chart. The puzzle is from the 9th house to the 3rd house. His common sense and his understanding of what's needed. What I can do, what needs to be done. But this is also between the houses of the brothers and sisters, uncles and aunts, and in-laws. And the in-laws, the brothers and sisters, uncles and aunts of the partner. So there's a puzzle between any in-laws or any relatives. So generally, you can't take advice from relatives. It's hard to know who's reliable. People who could probably hit on him for money, and he's got to learn not to give it to everybody. Or if you give it to one or somebody else, it gets complicated. I don't know what it is. I see it's there. It might be about money. It might be a sibling problem, but certainly he has a guilt factor. When he doesn't get what he wants, he blames himself, but he wants too much, but he blames himself. So it's a sorrow, but it builds up to a spiritual thing because there's so many things in life that seem to be worth it at one moment and aren't at another.